classified investigations. Files never revealed. The search begins.
The snow covers everything, but it doesn't erase fear. In February of 1959, 9 young Soviet hikers vanished in the Ural Mountains. When rescuers finally found them, it didn't look like a lost expedition. It looked like a scene of horror. The tent was slashed from the inside. The bodies scattered across the snow, some barefoot, others with their faces mutilated. There were no witnesses, no survivors, only footprints fading into nothingness. And a mystery the cold kept alive for more than 60 years. The Dyatlov Pass incident was no accident. It was a story of fear, desperation, and something else. Something that was never truly explained. There were 9 of them, young, strong, students of engineering, physics, and sports. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, always calculating, disciplined, the one who never feared the cold. Zina, the smile of the group. In her diary she wrote, "A challenge awaits us, but we are ready." Rustam, the joker, the one who lifted everyone's spirits when the ice made them doubt. On January 27th, they began their ascent. Days later, a whiteout storm struck them. They drifted off route and camped on the slope of a mountain the Mansi, the native people of the area called Kholatsyakhl. In their language, it means the mountain of death. That night, between February 1st and 2nd, something happened. Something that made 9 experienced hikers flee barefoot into the darkness. Experts confirmed it. They fled in panic. But what forced them to do it? Some believe they heard a roar, a deep sound that disoriented them. Others say a light blinded them from outside. The snow showed footprints, all heading toward the forest. They weren't running. They were walking, one after another, as if something were following them. 500 meters from the tent, they found the first bodies, Doroshenko and Krivonishenko. They were under a tree, barefoot, with their hands torn apart. They had tried to start a fire and had also climbed the pine tree. The branches were broken 5 meters high, but what were they trying to see? Or what were they trying to escape from? Further ahead, they found 3 more bodies. Igor Dyatlov, Zina Kolmogorova, and Rustam. They were aligned in the direction of the tent, as if they had tried to return. They died of the cold, but their injuries were not normal. Rustam had a fracture in his skull. Zina had bruises on her face and arms, as if she had fought with something or someone. Igor's hands were clenched, with traces of skin under his nails. Something or someone was there, and they fought until the end. Weeks passed before the last 4 were found. They were 70 meters from the forest, inside a ravine buried under snow. When the rescuers saw them, they went silent. What they found made no sense. Lyudmila was missing her tongue and eyes. Thibaut had his skull crushed, yet not a single external wound. Solotaryov had his ribs shattered. And Kolovatov, had a displaced jaw and an expression of terror. The bodies showed traces of radiation, and their skin had an orange tint. What kind of force can break bones without touching the skin? What kind of energy leaves radiation on clothing? The military said little. The reports were classified. Some officers claimed to have seen orange lights floating in the sky that night. The government denied everything. For decades, the avalanche theory was dismissed because the terrain had almost no slope and the tent wasn't dragged away. But a modern investigation proposes a terrifying scenario. A compacted snow slab that fell straight down without sliding. A silent mass, hard as concrete, that could have crushed the tent from above. The pressure would be enough to fracture ribs and trigger immediate panic, forcing the hikers to cut the fabric and flee into the storm. However, this theory does not explain why some had internal damage comparable to a car crash, nor why there were traces of radiation on their clothing, nor how they ended up so far away with no signs of being dragged. The intelligent avalanche is logical, but it leaves uncomfortable questions that no one has been able to answer. The wind in the Urals can create a strange phenomenon. Low-frequency waves that the human ear cannot hear, but the brain interprets as extreme danger. This infrasound can trigger anxiety, paranoia, disorientation, and an immediate urge to flee. According to this theory, the 9 hikers panicked simultaneously, cut the tent from the inside, and escaped without thinking, some without clothes, others without shoes, as if their nervous systems were collapsing. But here comes the doubt. Infrasound can generate fear, yes, but it does not cause massive fractures, nor does it explain the missing tongue of one victim, nor the radiation detected on some garments. If they fled due to an inner terror, what was it that actually killed them outside? Declassified files mention that the area near Dyatlov Pass was used for secret military tests, experimental parachutes, silent mines, and aerial explosions. On the same night of the incident, villagers reported orange lights moving across the sky. Some believe the group accidentally witnessed a military test, or ended up within the range of an experimental device. This would explain the radiation on their clothing, the internal fractures without external wounds, and the sudden escape from the tent. But it also opens a deeper mystery. If the military was involved, why did they never admit anything? Was everything covered up to avoid a scandal? The military theory is one of the most controversial, because if it is true, it means the real story is still classified. Investigators considered wild animals, wolves, bears, even wolverines, one of the most aggressive predators of the North. A nighttime attack could have caused them to cut the tent from the inside and flee in shock into the storm. However, the problem is obvious. No tracks, no blood, no bite marks, no claw marks were found. And the internal injuries on some bodies were far too violent for a typical animal attack. This led to a stranger possibility. A little-known predator or an unusual behavior triggered by the extreme winter. Did something frighten them inside the tent? Something terrifying enough to make them run out half-dressed? The animal theory doesn't fully fit, but it cannot be completely ruled out. Several witnesses claimed to have seen orange spheres floating over the mountain on the very night of the incident. Some scientists believe they may have been cold plasma balls or electromagnetic phenomena not yet understood. An intense electromagnetic field could cause disorientation, blurred vision, dizziness, mild burns, and even internal injuries without external marks. If one of these spheres descended near the tent, the group could have panicked instantly. This theory explains the lights, the radiation, and the irrational behavior of fleeing without clothes. But there is no way to confirm it. It is the closest thing to a real phenomenon that still has no name and no explanation. The Dyatlov case is not just a tragedy. It is not just an accident, nor human error, nor a single isolated theory. It is a puzzle in which every piece contradicts the one before it. And it is precisely that contradiction that keeps the mystery alive. When the rescuers reached the tent, they found something impossible. The shelter was cut open from the inside, yet the snow around it showed almost no signs of escape, as if the hikers had fled without leaving clear tracks, as if time itself had frozen in that moment. Further ahead, the trees revealed another story. Two figures trying to start a fire, their hands burned, their bodies stiff, their eyes still staring into the darkness of the mountain. And then the bodies in the ravine. Fractures a doctor compared to a car crash, yet without any external signs of violence, crushed ribs, shattered skulls, torn tongues, and still not a single mark that indicated an attack, neither human nor animal. And the most unsettling question appears again. What were they really fleeing from? Because if it was an avalanche, why was the tent still standing? If it was a natural phenomenon, why did some try to calmly return to the tent to look for clothing? If it was a military experiment, why was the case closed in a matter of days? The final enigma is not what happened to them, but why every explanation seems to fit only halfway, as if the truth were too complex, too strange, to belong to a single theory. Perhaps it was an impossible combination, a slab of snow that partially crushed them, an atmospheric phenomenon that disoriented them, a light in the sky that terrified them, and a cold so brutal that every wrong decision pushed them closer to the end. Or perhaps there was something out there that night that we still do not understand. The only thing certain is that all 9 fought until the very last second, trying to survive, trying to return to the tent, trying to stay together, in a storm that gave them no mercy. The true enigma of Dyatlov Pass is not in how they died. It is in how they lived those final minutes, and in what they saw just before the mountain kept them forever. In the end, only the mountain knows the truth, and perhaps it never wanted us to find it.